let's do 7 days of sex.
7 days of sex.
Just like a little store around the corner, and I just got an outfit. And that was your gift.
4 steps to revolutionize your sex life.
Looking back, I think that our honeymoon was probably really boring.
You can up the ante on your sex life. What new things are you doing in the bedroom? Because sex should never get boring. But if you do the same thing over and over and over, it could lead to being boring. And you mentioned that the other day about our honeymoon. What'd you say?
I forgot. Yeah, it was right after sex, and I said, I think, looking back, I think that our honeymoon was probably really boring. And I thought, because it should be getting better. Like, comparing the two, I'm sure it was a one-stop quick shop.
Definitely a quick shop. Definitely a quick shop. Listen, so for everybody that's listening right now, everybody that's watching right now, this is going to be 4 steps to revolutionize your sex life. So we're going to jump into right now. This is not for children. This is not for your in-laws. This is for you to watch with your spouse and have the conversation with your spouse.
Yeah.
So one of the best ways you can revolutionize your sex life, you can up the ante on your sex life, is spice it up. Like, let's just jump there. Spice it up.
We just went into it. Okay.
You got to. So how do we spice it up? So let's just even talk about this. Father's Day. What was our conversation on Father's Day?
Well, you're a very simple man. You know, you don't really, and if you need, you don't need a bunch of stuff. And if you do, it's little and you just get it whenever you need it. But that's not even a lot. And so I thought, okay, for Father's Day, what do you want? Like, do you want something? I don't know. A massage is always good for me. You can always take me to a spa or whatever. But I didn't know. And you were like, I don't need anything. I'm like, ugh. And so I think you told me, you're like, let's do, did you say 7 days?
7 days.
7 days of sex.
7 days of sex. The
That's
7 days of sex challenge.
That's all you wanted.
That's all I wanted.
And so
But then you spiced it up.
I did spice it up because I thought, okay, that's fine and all, but like I wanted to like give you something. And so I was like, we were driving in the car and I think I was asking you and I was like, oh, I know what it is. And then I was like, never mind. And so what I did was there's just like a little store around the corner and I just got an outfit. And that was your gift.
Yes, it was.
And so I played off of what you wanted.
Yeah. And so for us guys, like, we're visual creatures.
Yes.
And so it's weird because we're like, put it on to take it off.
That is frustrating.
But it's just like a Christmas present. It's like a birthday present.
Yeah.
Why wrap it? Right? Yeah. Why wrap it? Like, hey, here's your gift. It's like, you know,
I'm just
like,
gonna open it again.
That's right. And we like that. The same thing when it comes to our ladies and what you're wearing. So a way to spice it up, ladies, is, are you wearing anything that he likes? Shannon Odell.
Are you wearing something that repels?
That's what I was just going to say. What does Shannon Odell say?
Burn the,
Honey Not Tonight gown.
Yeah, burn the Honey Not Tonight gown.
What does that mean?
It's sweatpants and a big t-shirt. It's a muumuu. It's a large flannel something or other.
Yep.
Something not attractive.
That says Honey Not Tonight.
Everybody's is different.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that stuff. Ain't nobody want that. Burn it. So, hey, if this is helping you right now, thinking of like, okay, how can I spice up my life? I want you to hit that like button. What about this? Even when it comes to the 7-day sex challenge, maybe you guys want to join us. So this is what we're doing for the 7-day sex challenge. It's like 75 hard. I don't know if you've ever heard of 75 hard. It's a challenge. If you fail one day, you have to restart the whole thing. So like, I'm on day 72, I think. If I fail today, I'd have to restart the whole thing. We're doing that in the 7-day sex challenge. So we failed last night. We were tired. We were exhausted. And Krissy literally rolled over and she's like, I think we're going to have to restart tomorrow. So it's like, this is a great challenge for me. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, hey, we want to invite you. Start the challenge. It's easy, right? Like, and it actually leads in to our second point that if you want to revolutionize your sex life, you need to schedule it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound sexy at all, but you know what? Scheduled sex is better than no sex.
Can I get an amen from all the men out there?
And I think like it's not a I mean, you do need to look at your schedule. Like last night we had a small group. The night before we had a small group. Tonight we've got something. So it's like you do need to look at your schedule overall. But it's not like a, hey, Tuesday at 4. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of schedule. It's saying, okay, like what are your expectations? And I'm not talking about like how many times a month, people. Like step it up. It needs to be how many times a week. That's what you're trying to get to. This is intimacy with your spouse. This is the only thing that your spouse can get from you. He can get accolades. He can get
affirmations, pat on the back, stattaboys.
He can get gifts from other people. But this is the one thing that only comes from you. And so when we say the word schedule, it's like, okay, let's look at our week. You know, and some people it's pretty similar, you know, summer's crazy, so you might need to figure it out. But it's like, okay, so for us, we came up with a number, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to put pressure on anybody or, you know.
I think we do need to say it because some people, you're having sex once a month and you think that's good. Like our number is 3 times a week. Like that's like if we're hitting it out of the park. Now, here's the thing, though, and just to like your point, when we're teaching this stuff, it doesn't mean do what Joe and Krissy are doing to a T. It means have the conversation.
Yeah, that's the number that we came up with.
All of this is pushing to conversations of, hey, how can we spice up our sex life?
Yeah.
Do you like it if I wear something? You know?
No, I don't.
I know. Krissy joked the other day. She's like, hey, they got some guy stuff there. She's like, it's leather, chaps. I was like, listen, I don't think you'd like that. I don't think anybody would like that.
Don't knock
it.
Yeah.
Hey, that might be up your alley. See, that's the thing. That's not for us. It might be for you. So 3 times a week, you might be like, dude, that ain't nothing. I'm looking for 5 times a week, you know? So that's why it's so important to have these conversations.
What was that story of that couple when they came in for counseling?
Oh, yeah.
And the husband,
he wanted more sex.
Okay.
And she said to the counselor, I've been trying. I thought that 7 times a week was good enough.
She said, I thought once a day
was good enough. Thank you.
And he was, the counselor was like, wait. What?
Like, what number are you trying to hit? Like, who's got time for 2 times a day?
I know.
Yeah.
And so you need to have that conversation with your spouse. That's what we landed on because it's what works for us.
And a way that helps with the conversation of the amount of time is also the initiation. Like a way to revolutionize your sex life is like having the initiation conversation. I like that. Revolutionize your sex life. Have the initiation conversation. Here's the thing though. So we know this from Tony Alicia from One
Extraordinary.
I always wanted to say Amazing Marriage, but it's One Extraordinary Marriage. They talk about like having initiation schedule. So it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday is him. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is her, and Sunday's off. So it's like having the conversation of who initiates when. And maybe it's even like, this is my whole week to initiate. This is your whole week to initiate. So again, these are just things to talk about to initiate. So I want to know right now, comment below, what's your number? Maybe it's 3 like us. Maybe it's 1. Maybe it's 7. You know, like what's your number? And then have you had the conversation with your spouse about it? Comment below. Just put a number below right now. Comment below. What's your number?
Yeah, it changes in seasons. It changes based on your age. Like there's a lot of factors. So it needs to work for you.
Well, because thinking about revolutionizing your sex life, one thing you have to do is you have to be focused on it because like what you just said, when it comes to seasons, when you have littles in the house, it's hard. When you don't have littles, you could be having sex anywhere you want in the house.
Yeah.
In the living room, on the kitchen table, in the pool, you know, in the shower. Like but for us, it's like we can't until it's bedtime.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard is because then you're tired at bedtime.
Right.
And so that leads actually into our next one, which is so important. And you're really good at this. Get your head in the game.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard it where women are like crock pots, men are like microwaves. And so, and I'm going to address both, right? So for women, you know your schedule, you know the kids, you know the thing, you got to do. And so you got to get your head in the game. For me, like, I don't handle coffee well. And so I can't have coffee definitely after 12. And so if he sees me making a coffee at like 10, 11:30, like he's like, oh, okay. You know, like I got to get my head in the game. I know
that's her initiation. That's how I know she's initiating.
You know, and then you got to think, okay, after I put the kids to bed, I'm not just going to go lay in bed. Maybe you need to take a shower. Maybe, I don't know, but you have to get your head in the game. You can't like check out after you get your kids down. It's a mental game. I know you're tired. There's long days at work. There's kids. There's extracurricular. But you have, if you don't keep it in the forefront of your mind, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen.
Intimacy starts before the bedroom.
Yeah.
Sex starts before the bedroom.
And that's what I want to say to guys. You know, it's very easy for you to go into the bedroom and just be on.
Yep.
And so
microwave, like you said.
You need to start in the morning as well. We've had conversations before on how he physically touches me throughout the day. Like he wants to grab my butt, but I'm like, that is not helping. Nope. Like he thinks it is, but it's not.
That doesn't get her in the game.
No,
what
it doesn't
gets you in
help
the game?
me. Long hugs help me.
Long hugs.
I want a long, like good hug.
And I actually love it. Like since you've said that, like I love hugging you. Like it's like a first thing in the morning over by the coffee pot when we have a long, good hug.
Yeah.
Even though we've just been all night together sleeping, but it's like that morning hug and not groping, not grabbing, just a hug.
Right. Yep. So it's all those things throughout the day. We've talked about texting and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But it all matters.
Yes, it does. So here's the thing. At the end of this video, I want you to hang around because we are going to start doing Q&A. And so we have some questions that we're going to ask. If you have a question, maybe it has to do with sex, maybe it has to just do with communication, maybe it has to do with whatever in marriage, you can ask your question below because we are going to read through these questions on YouTube and we're going to answer them for you just like this. So getting our head in the game. One of the ways, and this leads to number 4, to get our head in the game is by taking care of ourselves. That's number 4. Like when you think about it, if you want to revitalize your sex life, you know, yeah. if you want an amazing sex life, you want to be on fire, you have to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like, taking care of yourself as a woman?
Yeah. And what I love about these points,
because we're not talking about take care of yourself independently.
No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, like I was going to say, all these tips are from us personally that have really helped us revolutionize our sex life. And so this last one, taking care of yourself, is really important. You know yourself. You know the foods that are going to make you feel crappy. You know when you don't, exercise, how you feel about yourself. You know the time of the month, women, that you feel terrible or you're about to, have your period and you're just feeling bloated. Here's the thing. We probably look the same to our husbands, bloated and not bloated. They could care less. And you know why I know this? Because I was like 9 months pregnant and my husband still wanted to have sex with me. And I was like,
yep,
something's wrong with you.
Yep.
But they don't care. They see us differently than we see ourselves. But we hinder ourselves when we don't take care of ourselves. If you're eating fast food and going through McDonald's all of the time, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to feel terrible about yourself. When you're not going to the gym, and I'm not talking about, you need to be a size 4, you need to have a 6-pack. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to feel good about yourself. And it takes work. It is your responsibility. You know what those things are. You know what you're supposed to be doing. And it's your responsibility to do it.
Well, why don't you share a little bit of your story even right now, as you have been feeling a certain way. So what are you doing about that?
Yeah. So it's not even like a lose weight thing for me. There's been like some sort of underlying where I'm like, and maybe I feel like this is for a lot of people, where you are like chronically exhausted. And so I have changed my diet. Like he said, we were doing 75 hard. I was working out twice a day. I was just really trying to be in tune with my body and making sure that like what I was doing was the right thing. And so, but I had to go to the doctor, and I went last week really because the waiting list was so long. But maybe there is a medication that you need. Maybe there is an underlying issue that it'll be an easy fix with the doctor. Maybe not an easy fix, but you
start moving in the right direction.
Yeah, because it's important. It's not just about you. It's about your kids. It's about your husband. It's not just about even sex, but we have to take care of ourselves to make sure that we can show up.
Yeah. because no one else is going to take care of you.
Nobody else
You
can
have
do
to
it.
take care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself now, in the future, you're putting that responsibility on your kids as you get older
Absolutely.
because you're not healthy.
Absolutely.
So that's why we prioritize. Even one of my mottos or my mantras that I have a prayer list, and it's like my mantras of the kind of man that I want to be. And one of those things is healthy. I want to be healthy physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Like I want to be healthy in all aspects of life. And that's why it's so important for us, just like what you said, when it comes to whether it's going to the doctor, whether it's watch what we're eating, whether it's the physical, whether it's, and for you, some of you might be like, well, I want to go to the gym. I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the time to do it. Even start just going for walks. So something we do, here's a little tip for you, go for a walk after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me, I need that 45-minute workout. So that'll be my second one. And we'll just walk and talk. And sometimes she gets distracted with the kids because they're wrestling and fighting and all the stuff, but then she catches back up and we're talking and we're walking. Even that is going to make an impact in your health and in the health of your marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we want to do. Okay. If you're like, these are great, I don't know how to talk to my spouse about that, we have the solution for you. Below is a PDF for you on the 3 T's of communication. And so this is going to help you be able to talk to your spouse about these things because maybe you've never even had the sex talk. And we're going to have future episodes about that. And then even on our very next one, we're going to be talking about, okay, what is allowed in the bedroom of a Christian marriage? What can I bring in? Can I bring in toys? Can I bring in videos? Can I, what can I actually bring? Can I bring in games? We already know you can bring in outfits. We just talked about that. So what can I bring in? We're going to talk about that on the next one, but we're going to jump into our Q&A. So again, if you have a question, comment below. You'll see also right pinned below is that PDF for you. Just go ahead and get that right now to have better communication with your spouse. Here's the question. How not to feel guilty when you say no to your kids since it's never enough for them. So this is more parenting than just marriage. So if you are a parent, it's for you. If you're not a parent yet, but you're married and you're like, hey, we're going to have kids, this question's for you because you're going to feel guilty. We had this conversation with our counselor.
Will you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you not feel guilty when you say no to your kids since it's never enough time for them?
They're vampires.
There's never enough time.
There is never enough time. And you have to understand, because here's what I've heard parents say a lot. I want to give my kids what my parents never gave to me. And that's a really great motive to have as a parent. Like I remember my parents saying that, and it was about like my dad never went to the dentist as a kid, so he made sure that I was at every
Oh, wow.
Those things are important.
That's why you got such nice teeth.
Yeah, like they put that, like those things are important. But you have to not just see things as like, I'm never going to be my parents, because even the opposite is not healthy either. That's where like entitlement and spoiled kids come into play, where they get whatever they want. What I'm not saying, and it was more of a time thing than like objects.
They feel guilty because there's not enough time for them.
Yeah. So I would also say that it's really important for your kids to be bored.
Yes.
It's
because
really
in
important.
boredom, creativity is developed.
Yes. And so I think we over parent our kids.
Helicopter
nowadays.
parents.
Yeah, we're helicopter parents. They need to fall. I mean, in a safe way. If I left Ellis to his own demise, he'd be jumping off the roof.
Well, a good conversation or a good thought with that is even that with Vivi, when she wanted to first ride a bike, we said she wasn't old enough for no training wheels. We were on vacation. All they had were bikes without training wheels. And she's like, I want to. So if we're like, okay, listen, just get ready. When you fall, it's going to hurt, but try in the grass, all the stuff. And she took off. She took off. Like crazy. Like she never went back to training wheels.
Never.
And we would have kept her on training wheels.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And this is what I have found as a parent in general with all of the things that I thought my kids weren't ready for. They always surpassed my expectations. Yep. It was even from the little things of taking away Gwen's pacifier. I took her to the garbage one day and we just threw it away. She never asked for it again. We think, oh my gosh, they're gonna whatever. And that's just not the case. Potty training my kids.
Yep.
I did it sooner than later.
Yep.
and they soared.
Yep.
And so I think we put these expectations on our kids that are not realistic.
We want to keep them babies longer than they need to be babies.
And it's true.
You've
And
said
that's
this
on
so many
us.
times.
That's on us. That's not on them.
But you've also said this before. We're not called to raise kids. We're called to raise adults.
Right.
So we have to get them into that adult phase. Now, here's a question too. I mean, it's the same question, and we're going to wrap up with this. But you've mentioned before when we were at our counselor that you've had mom guilt. And so that mom guilt about Ellis knocking at the door, right? Or that time, because it can feel like, oh my gosh, we worked all day. What does it look like to give them that time? How do you work through mom guilt when it feels like when you have that feeling? Because I mean, you even told me the other day on a walk. I feel that way too because my dad worked a lot. Or he was golfing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There wasn't a lot of family time with him. I only remember a handful of actual dinners with him. And so that's why it's like I make it a purpose to have dinner with my kids, dinner with my family. But even the other day we were on a walk and you're like, hey, listen, I know you. They're home for summer. You still have work to do. Don't feel bad. Yeah. I'm going to take them to the beach. I'm going to take them to the park, the library, all this stuff. If you have a break, do your thing, but don't feel bad. Because there can be that dad guilt too. Again, it's just like what you shared about your dad. Yeah. You're bringing that in. But how do you deal with mom guilt?
Well, I think you're super supportive and you make me like do stuff. But the reality is I was a social worker for a really long time. And so when our counselor said this, all of those thoughts came flooding back. And so as a social worker, I would walk into these very hard situations where these kids don't have food. They are like, their beds are bug ridden. Like they're walking around like with the saggiest diaper and they've got like literally pop or Kool-Aid in their baby bottle. But there's a big screen and in my mind, I'm like, I want to snatch up every one of these kids and it would like weigh on me. And I knew that if I could not like get out, just you do your best with the time that you have, and then you have to check out because I will not be helpful the next day. And so when our counselor said like, you cannot have, not that you're ever going to get rid of mom guilt, but you have to check out for your health.
That's good.
Your own mental health, because I will not be good for my kids the next day or the next week or in 5-10 years if I'm constantly like, and it's different for everybody. Some parents need just like a bubble bath. I don't know. Like I need to get out and like go get a massage or something. Like I just need quiet. I don't require a lot of time.
Nope, you don't.
But I need something for myself. And I'm a better mom because of it.
Yep. That was a great question. If you have questions, comment below. And then if you're wondering what is permissible in the bedroom, like what we just talked about in a Christian marriage, our toys, videos, oral, what does that look like? You can click the next video and we're going to see you on the next video. Also, if you've not hit the subscribe button yet, go ahead and do that. See you in there.